You may have realized that being healthy feels different than it did in the past now that you're over 50. If you want to maximize your health potential but don't have time to read through overwhelming pages of Google links, this is the show for you. Welcome to Healthy Tips After 50. We love doing the research, finding solutions, talking to health experts, and learning what works and what doesn't. Now, your host. She spent the last 25 years dedicated to feeling her best and is here to share her best findings with you, Susan Rosen.
Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and my guest today is Marc Perry. And Marc is a globally recognized body transformation expert for busy professional men. And he is the founder and CEO of Built Lean. And he's going to tell us all about what he does and how he ended up getting into this. So welcome, Marc. Happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Susan. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm a huge fan of your work and, putting out really great information and helping people realize like, hey, you can age well and feel great as you age. So it's a hugely important message. And I really appreciate that. And so in terms of me and how I started Built Lean, I entered the workforce as a financial analyst. And it turns out, and I was athletic growing up. And I was constantly exercising, but when I went to the workforce, I was sitting down most of the day, probably like 60 hours plus a week I was working. And next thing I know, my weight started going up and up and up, combined with kind of muscle building gone wrong. Next thing I know, I went from 165 pounds to 200 pounds plus. And
oh my God,
that was like that eureka moment where I stepped in the scale. I'm like, all right, 200. I never imagined being 200, by the way. Like 165 was like what my normal weight was. And so it was that moment where I was like, okay, I've got to make a change. And surprisingly, after making the change and really attempting to work really hard to change my body, it took an extra, within a few weeks, I still wasn't seeing the scale move as much. And eventually it all came off and I was doing just a few short workouts a week, an efficient eating plan. It all came off. And so I'm still in finance. And then I ended up helping my brother transform his body. And he did workouts with me. And the next thing I know, I had the moment where I'm like, you know what? I could see myself doing this the rest of my life. It transformed my own body. He transformed his body. And then, long story short, I ended up creating a personal blog. I left my finance job. I started a personal training practice. And that is the genesis of Built Lean, which is designed to help busy professional men achieve, get lean and fit for life. And so now I'm 41. I started when I was only 26. So I've been doing it for 15 years. And over time, we've continually focused on making our programs even more efficient. And now we work exclusively with busy professional men through a 12-week body transformation system. So that's kind of just an overview without talking your ear off too much. Mm-hmm. But I just want to give you
No, that's okay. That's always, I love hearing about what people's journey is or was to get to where they are. Right.
Right.
What started them off in this whole thing, because we all have that story.
Absolutely, the genesis of it all.
Yep, exactly, yeah. So out of curiosity, how do people find you?
Great question. So we have a pretty solid organic reach. So our website gets hundreds of thousands of visitors every single month. And so for many years, we've actually gotten over 70 million visitors to our website since I started. So it's not this personal fitness blog. I'm literally putting articles up. And this was back in 2010 is when it started. And the next thing you know, we started getting more and more followers. And so that is one of the core ways that people find us, just through our website. We also have social media, daily social media posts across my own personal, and then also Built Lean. And then we also do some advertising as well. And so the combination is pretty significant. So we're getting out there, which has been great.
Yeah, I should say. Wow, that's impressive.
Thank you.
That's very impressive. Yeah. Wow. Not like me. I don't have any of that stuff. But that's a whole nother story. So tell me a little bit more about, so somebody reaches out to you, finds you on your website, then then what? There's something, I assume there's a little funnel that brings them in. But how do people feel in going through that process?
That's such a phenomenal question, Susan. And so what we offer people, and men in particular, it's not for everyone. I would say, even if you have, let's just say 50 guys who want to like lose weight, not everyone really is ready psychologically to make that shift. Right. So actually, I would say not that many people are really truly ready to make that shift and transform their bodies. And so we offer a body transformation system, and our client success rates are off the charts. But it's like we want to make sure we're able to work with someone who's ready psychologically and like ready to make that shift. And most of the guys who work with, they've failed 100 times on their own. They've done a bunch of different programs, and they're like, I've had enough. I'm sick and tired of like, my weight's going up my weight's going up. They're feeling sluggish. They're like, what am I going to do? And it's like, that's the type of guy we work with, right? We don't work with anyone. Some guys like, yeah, I just want to lose the last 5 pounds of my lower belly fat. Like, we don't work with that man, right? We're working with guys who are like, all right, I really want to make a change in my health and well-being long-term. And so in terms of like how they come on our website, we have a free Get Lean guide, which I highly recommend your listeners check out. And so in this video, I share like my core tenets of how to get lean and fit for life. Like, how does that work? What does that look like? And after a man sees that video, they're like, okay, is this resonate with me or not? Then after that, they can fill out a short questionnaire and apply for a free breakthrough call. And so we do not offer a program unless someone has this call, because we don't know if they're a good fit or not, So it's like,
right.
And also we want to learn about that person to make sure we can create something more personalized and customized for that gentleman. And so that's how the process works. Then at the end of the call, we discuss how we may be able to work together. And then we can sign up for our 12-week transformation system. And that's how the whole process works. And it has evolved over the years to this more premium focused program, which has expert one-on-one guidance and accountability. And that's the change we made. Is we used to have programs that were sold, 10,000 programs all over people all over the world. And we went to a more premium one-on-one model because we just got such great results. It was phenomenal. And so we're really happy with it.
That's great. That's great. So then is there some kind of, excuse me, when somebody comes to you, they go through your program, working with you, they lose the weight, they get in better shape, Then is there something that supports them so they stay there?
That's a brilliant question, Susan. Seriously, because as you know, that's one of the biggest challenges with weight loss, right? It's like someone gets results and they come back. And so our brand promise is a bold one, right? It's like, we can help you get lean and fit for life. And we do that through a 12-week program. And that's it's like, what are you talking about? How's that possible? Well, we literally help people build a whole different belief system and habits through the 12 weeks, so that when they're at the 12 weeks, I have a what's called a beyond call in week 12, where I say, okay, well, what's your confidence level from 0 to 10? You can achieve your goal. So typically guys have another goal and they're like 10. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. And what's your confidence level? You can sustain your results once you achieve your goal. And they say 10. And by the way, a lot of guys already have achieved their goal. So they're already there. That's a beautiful thing. But they usually say 10. And we go over in this call, okay, what's your vision for your body and your health? We have to establish that very clearly. What are the top 3 reasons that are going to help you continue achieving this vision? And then the third, and this is really important, is what are the top 3 habits or principles or guidelines that are going to help you achieve that vision? And so it's a combination of these things plus keeping your head in the game, Susan. That's the game. That's as long as someone keeps their head in the game, keeps their vision, keeps their reasons, keeps the core tenets in front of them regularly, my perspective, and after doing this for a long time, they'll continue getting results and they'll continue on the path because they've shifted their identity. They're like, wait, I'm not the guy who eats that stuff. I'm not the guy. What are you talking about? So that is, from my perspective, the game.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Having been through that myself, absolutely. Okay. So is there, at that point, do they just, you don't stay in contact with them anymore, or how does that work? I mean, or is there like, once a year or every 6 months, everybody gets together or what?
Yeah, it's a great question. We actually do have an online group for guys for transformation grads who
Okay.
can interact with each other and that sort of thing. But as of now, we really have a 12-week transformation system, and we may add on extra services, but like really that's the brand promise, right? It's like we can help you make a dramatic transformation. But just to be clear, we have the online community for guys who are able to connect with each other. And that is one of the
that's good.
And the other thing is we do have daily social media to kind of help guys keep their head in the game and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense then. Yeah. Because they're not going to need the same level of support at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say the cool thing is it's like once they make that psychological and transformation, that's the hard part. And that's where the 12 weeks where we have one-on-one coaching with the coach. It's intense, like it's every day we're working together. And then once they make that shift and that identity shift, then it's more just a matter of keeping the head in the game, and it's not as intense, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't I would hope it wouldn't need to
exactly
be as intense. If it does, then there's been an issue somewhere on one side or the other.
And by the way, one thing to mention is, one challenge I think with personal trainers is like they're incentivized to almost create dependency. And that was one thing I realized. So I had a personal training practice. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I'm like, mine's like your incentive is to get someone to keep on training with you over and over again. But I was like, I want to create a program where someone like fires me, like, dude, I don't need you anymore. So at the end of the 12 weeks, they're like, yeah, we don't need you anymore. We're good to go. And that it's all about, I think if I had to encapsulate the entire program and everything we do at Built Lean with one word, it's empowerment. It's empowering our clients to get the results and continue them long term.
Yeah. What came to mind for me is that you're actually training them to take care of themselves.
In this area, in a way, correct.
Yeah.
Navigating the challenges of modern life, and staying healthy, right?
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. And over 12 weeks, you can learn and talk through or whatever, almost any situation, because they'll all come up in 12 weeks, right?
That's a great point. So a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't know if I should start because I got this going. I'm like, no, that's exactly the reason you should start. The more like, if you got a vacation, business trip, that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because otherwise, one thing, talk about myself. One thing that I have learned, even especially through my coaching and other stuff, is that you can tell people things forever and it's not going to get in here. If they have their own insight.
100%. And there's a saying, it's something like a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, right? It's like, we're really careful about that. And it's true. It's got to come from within. Like forcing change on someone doesn't work. And that's one thing I mentioned in the beginning. It's like, it's going to come from within when a man's like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I've got to do this. Because otherwise, transformation is just not possible.
Yeah. No. And otherwise, they're doing it because their wife tells them they should, or their mother, or their kids, or their boss, or, the doctor. And we all know how that works. It doesn't.
Precisely.
So, no, I think that's great. That's great. So it sounds like you get a good number of people or men coming through the program, because you have to keep getting more people, right? I mean,
yes,
if people are there for 12 weeks and then they leave, you're
correct. So we always we have new people coming through, and that's where we attract new people through our website, etc.
Yeah. Which I will put the link in the show notes for that, and and anything else you have that would be appropriate. So I will say, having to do with that, is that most people, especially if they're listening in audio or something like Apple Podcasts or something like that, they don't see the show notes very often,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're listening while they're working out or something like that, or out
Right.
for a walk, right? They're not reading. So hopefully we can get their what's the right word? Their interest
Cool.
up to the point where they'll go back and look at it in the show notes
I was going
and
to
try
say, I
to find it.
definitely encourage your listeners to go to builtlean.com. We have
Yeah.
one reason why we get so much traffic on Google is like we've got amazing articles, we've got amazing videos,
Uh-huh.
and it's completely free information that your
Uh-huh.
listeners enjoy. So I highly encourage them to go and
Great.
check
Great. Okay. So builtlean.com.
.com. Correct.
Okay. Okay. Good. That sounds good. So tell me a little more about how you kind of got into all of this. I know you touched on it a little bit at the beginning,
Right.
but I mean, what was it for you where you had that, light bulb go on and say, oh, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that, right?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of factors. Like one was that I firmly believed in the importance of exercise and staying fit and how that affects someone's own belief in themselves and their ability to achieve what they want. And so it's just like someone who's fitter in general is a more happier person. They're generally, better father, better husband, better, just kind of better at everything when you are in better shape, right? And so there's this umbrella effect. And I'm like, wow, this is super cool. Like I can do something that helps every aspect of someone's life. So that was really powerful to me. And that's something I'm like, wow, like what could I do long term? And I'm like, wow, I could see myself doing this long term. I could see myself building something that helps people change their lives in a fundamentally powerful way, where they have like live a happier, healthier, longer life. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
that is kind of that was a huge part of it. And then secondly is like when I was in finance, I appreciate finance. I appreciated my experience. I saw myself as someone who wanted to build something. And so I made that shift and I combined my interest in entrepreneurship with my passion for fitness. And that is really what led me down this path. And I've had this mission to help busy professionals to get lean and fit in less time with less hassle. And that's evolved into more of busy professional men in their 40s and 50s as we've honed in and targeted and realized who can we help the most. And that's really how everything has come about.
Okay. So have you written a book?
I have not written a book. Actually, I wrote a free book that is
okay. Well, that's a book
guide, but it's actually not even it's not even on their website anymore. But I actually have not written a book that's available on Amazon. No. Maybe I should. Maybe is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Well, I'm just, there's probably a lot of people, a lot of men out there who may or may not have the time or the money or other things, and you can share all this information. That way they can afford to buy a book.
I appreciate that. It's
yeah,
undoubtedly an option.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you don't have a lot of things already written.
I actually
couldn't pull from.
Yeah, no, totally.
Just a thought. Sorry.
No, it's a great idea. I appreciate you sharing, Susan.
So I'm trying to think here. So I guess what comes to mind is what's next.
What's next in terms of what?
Your life, your program, your business, it sounds like you've been doing it for a while.
Right.
It's been successful. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing it. I'm just,
right.
You seem like someone who is thinking about, oh, well, I could, what about this? What about that kind of?
Yeah, that's a good,
curious.
Yeah. So in terms of, how we see building and expanding is just to expand to more people. And so, as I mentioned, we started with these kind of lower kind of price fitness programs that people did on their own. However, a lot of people, they just wouldn't, again, their programs are awesome. The guys who actually stuck with it did amazing. And our clients customers got great results. Yeah. Some guys didn't stick to it quite as well as they could. They're like, man, it would be great if we had some accountability. And so that's what led to the shift. And so right now where we are is we want to expand. We want to reach more and more people. It's one reason why I want to kind of do more podcasts and
Yeah.
put myself out there more.
Great.
And that's where we're at. It's just, we've got something special, Susan, which I'm really grateful for. And I've worked very, very hard in the trenches for literally years. I made a transition, a pivot, where we have this program that has the one-on-one guidance and accountability. We've got extraordinary high success rates. Close to 90% of the clients who completed the program rated a 9 or 10 out of 10. It didn't happen overnight. It's not like I hired a bunch, like I did it myself one-on-one, working with people, right? And now I'm starting to bring on coaches. We have 3 coaches.
Okay.
And my plan is
that was my next question. Yeah.
Yeah. So my plan is to continue to expand and reach, there are thousands of men around the world who we can help, and we want to continue to expand. And that's the plan, is to continue to reach more people and continue to fulfill our mission to empower busy professional men to get lean and healthy for life.
Yeah. So do you do most of this online?
Yeah, the vast
or
majority
in person?
Yeah, it's all virtual. So I used to have a personal training practice at one point. Then now it's all virtual, because it's easy for guys who are busy, because to meet with like a trainer in person or a specific time, it's just not in the cards for a guy who's got, like, a lot of our clients. Literally, some of our clients have 5 kids, and they're like traveling, and their life is just unbelievably hectic. So we create a more sustainable, empowering solution for them, that they can do it long term. And virtual seems to be just a simple way to help support them, versus having something there where they need to physically show.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, and it is mostly all one-on-one, right? There aren't any group classes or group.
So we do have weekly group progress calls with me, where I run the weekly group progress calls, and then we have one-on-one coaching with the coaches. And so it's really a combination of both. And not everyone has to do the weekly calls with me, but it's an option for clients. And then, as I mentioned, we have an online community where guys can kind of just chat with each other, feel more part of a community.
Yeah, interesting. So you're kind of offering a little bit of both, not personal and not and group, but not in person. None of it's in person.
None of it's in person, but it is, we do have certainly one-on-one sessions to make sure we really have a rapport and a relationship, with our clients, which is critical, especially from accountability standpoint.
Yeah. Well, and now, since COVID, everyone else in the world is kind of caught up, and everybody knows how Zoom works, and everybody knows how you do all these different things, and which should make it easier. You don't have to explain.
Totally true. And we actually have an app. We have a built-in app for our clients, and it makes the actual program is delivered through the app. We've got customized workouts.
Right.
So that's actually one of the highlights of it. Is it's just super seamless. And so the point is, it's like everything's just clean and seamless. It's for a busy professional dude. If it's not simple, there's a 0% chance he's going to do it.
No, that's true. No, you're right. Absolutely. So just out of curiosity, do you get a lot of referrals? Do current clients or people who've been clients, are they telling all of their friends and saying, you got to go do this?
That is such a phenomenal question, Susan. And it goes back to what we said initially, which is like, at the end of the program, they're like, yeah, I think it's amazing, but I will only suggest it to someone if they're ready. In other words, it's like, you're not going, if John is like, yeah, he's talking about losing weight, but he's been talking about it for 2 years and he hasn't done anything. It's like, you see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
we do definitely have gotten referrals, but at the same time, it's for a certain type of person who's like, all right, I'm at that ready for change moment. Right. So one thing we recommend people, so for listeners like, this sounds interesting, I don't know, they can actually just go on our newsletter and we send weekly emails, and eventually down the line, hey, this sounds great, I'm ready, let's do this. So that's something we encourage men to do.
Okay. No, and that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense, because there'll be something that'll come up in one of the emails that'll, that that someone will go, okay, I can do that. That's for me.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Interesting. So do you have mostly, I'm just so curious about all the people that you're attracting.
Yeah.
Are a lot of them is it a combination? Is it for everybody? Is everybody like a combination of, oh, I have to lose weight and I have to get in shape? Or is it, gee, my weight is fine, but I am just totally not in shape. So I really need to be in shape. Or is it, oh, I exercise, but I just can't seem to lose the weight. I mean, there's all these different combinations, right?
So many. And we really do focus on men who have at least minimum 10 pounds of body fat to lose. And if a lot of guys who think they've got 10 pounds of body fat to lose could really lose 20 or 30. It's just how it is, right? It's like, yeah, I weigh 200 pounds now. I want to get down to 190, but maybe they could be 160, like 170, right? That's a whole other topic. But we really do focus on men who struggle with losing weight and feeling like they want to feel and feeling and the biggest challenge our clients face is with eating, right? Probably 30% of the guys who sign up, our clients who sign up, have not exercised or have very little exercise, but most actually have some exercise. The major issue is with their eating, where they haven't figured out a sustainable approach that's going to help them drop the weight, feel healthier.
Yep.
And that's what we help them with.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Because what people think they need isn't always what they need.
It's almost like it's hard to solve a problem you're not aware of.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
So there's like, I talk about, there are different types of problems, like people might not be aware of it.
Yeah. Or they think it's something else.
Right. Exactly. We have these conversations all the time. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who are very adamant that no, this is what I need. It's like, okay, yeah, okay, we'll start with that. But human beings are so funny.
Yeah, you have experience with coaching. You know the deal.
Yeah. No, exactly. So that's what's always fun about it, is seeing the light bulbs go on.
That's one of the best parts of coaching, I think. It's one of the greatest parts when you see someone literally just like that, like light bulb awareness moment. You're like, those are the moments that like together add up to like a dramatic change.
Oh my God. Yeah. Life-saving for a lot of people.
Totally.
Especially with your, in your line of business here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so important, because it's, I don't know, food and drink and all that kind of stuff is so readily available these days.
Food, drink, and foods that are devoid of nutrition, of course, are kind of everywhere.
Oh my God. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. That's what, and and so many of them are labeled as healthy. It just drives me bananas.
I was going to say, I mean, I was reading about your bio and how you were going to health stores before, like with the hardcore health stores back in the day, the hardcore ones. And now it's like any superfood added to like is a special healthy food. And it's just like, what is going on here? And unfortunately, as you know, the obesity rate continues to go up. Like something's off.
Oh yeah.
Something's not working.
You think?
Right? I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Something's not working here in this picture.
Yes, exactly. And particularly because it's country specific. I mean, you don't see a lot of people in Asia having the same issues, but then again, they probably don't have the same money either. But it's it's well, we won't go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad is what it is, because it's not necessary, but everybody's trying, these companies are trying to make money off of it. So yeah, exactly. But like I say, we won't go down that rabbit hole. That could be a whole nother program all to itself. So, okay, well, anything else you'd like to talk about to wrap up? I mean, I think we talked about a lot of different things and how people can get a hold of you and what you can do for them and who you're really looking to help.
Yeah, I
which is
appreciate
great.
that. I appreciate that. I think, the last thing I'd like to say again, Susan, I'm like super appreciative of this opportunity to be here, speaking with you and helping, your listeners, make those small distinctions to help improve their own health and well-being. And the last thing I think I would just mention is the importance of our beliefs. And so we speak with men like every day, and what they talk about in their beliefs, and how when you think like everyone else, it's going to be a challenge, and you kind of have to go against the grain to really make that shift. So like a lot of guys will say, I'm getting older, I lose, I gain weight as I age, but those beliefs are not necessarily true, right? They're factually untrue. Like you don't have to gain weight with age. That's actually untrue. So our beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies in many ways. And so from my perspective, the real way long-term to change someone's body is to change their beliefs. And so I just want to leave, your listeners with that incredibly. And I think, that's part of your message is changing our beliefs about what's possible as you age. Like people have much more potential than they truly appreciate or understand. It's just, there are voices around them, the media, whatever, like metabolism decreases as you age, which may not necessarily be true. So anyways, that's just one thought I would love to leave with your listeners is something that's empowering, right? Like you have the ability to get healthier with age, to even increase your flexibility, as I have personally. And so that's just something I'd like to leave with your listeners. And of course, please do, check out builtlean.com. And I've got a free video there, which I think can kind of go into depth about like my methods. Getting a lean body on autopilot is kind of like one of my strategies. But yeah, I'd love to leave them with that.
Yeah, no, that's I totally agree. And can I go watch it too and learn from it?
Please do. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's I can use that as well. For sure.
Awesome.
Okay. So great. So thank you for being here, and I will finish up with the same thing I finish up all of these podcasts with, which is that neither of us are doctors. This is not to be seen as medical advice. And if you are having medical or physical issues, please go and see your doctor or a hospital, depending on how serious it is at the moment. And with that, I will say that I will be seeing everybody next week.
This has been Healthy Tips After 50 with Susan Rosen. To stay on the cutting edge of the most effective health strategies, subscribe to this podcast and let us know what you thought of the show with a comment or like on iTunes. Visit healthytipsafter50.com for this episode's show notes, more resources, and free offers.